Joining us now to go in depth is Shantala Boss. She is a licensed mental health counselor. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So the bigger overarching topic, healing through tragedy, moving forward. How do we rebuild after something terrible happens, like what happened at Pulse nightclub?
Well, it's been 5 years, but I think the fifth year right now is so memorable as well because last year they were not able to come together in person for the regular memorial. On June 12th, they have a memorial where they remember the 49 victims and they come together and honor them. That's so important for dealing with grief, for dealing with loss, from a psychological perspective, just understanding what happened and feeling empowerment to make change. So this year they're going to be meeting together in person again. And I think that is so valuable and so important as we start this week off. They've already had a 4.9K and different activities to kind of help with the healing process, and also the importance of really remembering what happened and never forgetting what happened that day.
Shantala, as people come together, it's so important, like you're saying, to honor, to remember. Might it also trigger, though, some latent, hidden feelings that people maybe they didn't realize they felt the last few years?
Absolutely. And one of the first things that we want to do when we deal with grief or trauma is to ignore it sometimes, or to deny it, push it away, put other distractions upon ourselves. So it definitely can trigger some emotions that maybe we've been too busy to deal with or haven't been able to deal with because of our own pain. But the importance is being aware of that and recognizing that we need to process through these things. And as a community, there's so many beautiful things going on that we can be a part of. And like I said earlier, feeling empowered that through this grief and through this trauma, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot more acceptance and love. And that is so important that we continue to honor this community and work together and learn from these experiences.
Shantala, that awareness you just touched upon, you've worked a lot with families and kids throughout your career. While children might understand or know about what happened at Pulse, how do you help them with their feelings now, as there's so much happening, as we talked about this week?
But just really listening to them. Kids just need to be heard. We don't want to provide or expand upon information that they don't ask for. We just want to focus on where their questions are, what their needs are, and definitely involving them in these activities, not sheltering them from it. They are exposed every day at school, online, to information regarding hate crimes, whether we like it or not. So it's really important that we show them the love. Orlando Beautiful, the City Beautiful, has done so many amazing things to honor these victims and their families and to continue to support the community. And so kids need to see that, and they need to see the good and the empowerment and the action that's being taken to support other people who've been grieving and dealing with this. And that will help kids with dealing with this for sure.
Show them the love. I love that so much. What are some things we could be doing right now, for instance, to improve our mental health? What are tangible, ways we can move forward?
Well, focusing on all the good that has happened as a result, like I said, and, attending the memorials, learning about the victims, learning about their stories. It's important that we remember them, and also focusing on the good that has happened to change certain laws to make sure that people are safe. And, if we feel triggered to a point where we need more support or we're having trouble with our day-to-day tasks during this time, also recognizing that it's okay to ask for help. And there are mental health counselors that you can seek out and talk to deal with grief and trauma. Should it be, to a point where you feel maybe you need an extra hand, it's never a shameful thing to ask for help.
And then by just telling me this, what is the importance of really asking for help, doing these self-assessments amid all of this, and highlighting issues and saying, all right, I am going through this?
Well, it's so important because, like I said earlier, when we are dealing with grief or with trauma or significant events that we don't understand, we often hide those feelings or emotions in order to get through the day to day. And then these feelings and emotions will hit us when we least expect them and when we're not prepared. So it's very important that we educate ourselves on, what we can do for our mental health to maintain. Um, Stability, knowing who we need to ask for support within our family, knowing when we need to take a time out for self reflection, knowing what kind of activities we need to be involved in for our own stability, and when to set up boundaries for ourselves if we're pushing too hard. But that's always important, not just during a time like this, but every day of our lives. We need to be assessing, what our needs are and how to deal better with our own mental health.
All right, licensed mental health counselor Shantala Boss, thanks so much for going in depth with us.
Thank you for having me.